Number 21, we're going to give the equation of the parent function, list the transformations, and graph. Then we're going to identify domain range using set builder notation, and we're going to identify the asymptote as well. So on 21, what is the parent function there? Because I see some transformations. Well, let's list the transformations first. That'll probably make it easier. Okay, transformations down here. What are the two transformations that you see in 21? Right 2, right. This minus 2 from the x is telling you to go to the right 2. And then the plus 5 at the end tells you that's right, up 5. Okay, so right 2, up 5. Now the point of doing that is it really shows you, that pretty much shows you what your parent function is, right? Because the parent function is everything except the transformation. So if we were to take out those transformations, what would the parent function be? 2 to the x. 2 to the x. Yeah, 2x is a line. So 2, where is it? F of x equals 2 to the x. That would be your parent function. Alright, so now let's get some points to graph this function. So we got x over here, and how do I get my y values? Right, y is 2 to the x. That's right. Okay, so this is... What points do you want to use for x? I just lost my thought there. Okay. Right, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. You could just use -1, 0, 1 if you wanted to, right? But this is going to give you more information. Up to you, really. But since the table's pretty big, I'm assuming they want you to use all 5. All right, so where should we start? 0. When it's 0, what do I get? 1, right. So that's always the parent function point. Okay, if I plug in 1 to x, what do I get? 2, right, because that's going to be 2 to the first. If I plug in 2 to x, what do I get? 4. Okay, now that I've got the positive 1 and positive 2, what would -1, -2 be? 1/2 and 1/4. That's right. Okay, and so now we have to apply our transformation. So what was one of my transformations? It was to the right 2. What would that do to my table? Add 2 to the x's. Right 2. So what are my new x's?
0, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Then we have up 5. What would that do to my table? That's right. Okay, what's 1/4 plus 5? 5 and 1/4, that's right. Okay, then 5 plus 1/2? 5.5, that's right. 1 plus 5 is 6. 2 plus 5? And 4 plus 5? Alright, so let's graph this thing. We got 0, 5.5. So 0. Wow, this graph looks weird. Why are these weird? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 4th right there. Using different graphs every single time. All right, 1, 5.5. It's like, all right, this is pretty hard to differentiate. 2, 6, 3, 7. And 4, 9. Wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, like this. All right, so if you connect it, it would look like this. A little hard to see because this graph is very strong looking. All right, so now we have successfully graphed the function. Okay, so what is the asymptote here? How do you write the whole thing? Because if you write 5, you're going to get it wrong. Y equals 5, right. Asymptote y equals 5, okay? Do not write 5. we go. And so now let's do the domain and the range. What's the domain here? Oh, wait, that's not big enough to write set builder notation. Okay, well, it's going to be a squeeze. Wait, what?
Negative infinity, positive.
So you got to write it in set builder notation because that's what the question asks for, right? So let's try to fit the whole thing in this blank. Okay, so how do you start set builder? And then? What you're saying would be correct for what? For the range, that's right. You see the asymptote's y equals 5, that tells you that it's going to be for the range because it's not x, right? So what's the domain going to be? Negative. And then? Yeah, there you go. So the domain negative infinity less than x less than infinity, right? That's the domain always for exponential functions. All right, now how do I find the range? What's the range going to be? Y is greater than 5. How did you get the 5 and how did you get the y? Or how did you get the greater than? You got the 5 from the asymptote, right? Because that's the cutoff point. And then how did you know it's greater than?
Because y is not.
Because what?
Because it's never. I mean, it's on the line. Like, I don't know.
It's above the line, right? Your graph is above the line. That's right. Okay. And that is number 21.